Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, if you could all do me a solid and lightly tap the like button, perhaps share the video about and leave a comment. If you are not subscribed, subscribe as well. It would greatly help this channel. Thank you very much. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, Subdates 221116.7. 18 citations and 3 NPC crew have been sent to the brig to act as a human centipede for 7 days. They are lucky that I was too lazy to subject them to the Lament configuration treatment. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about the hashtag that was trending, No Johnny, No Pirates. For many months, there has been discussion about doing a Pirates of the Caribbean 6 by fans, but if it's going to happen, it has to happen with Johnny Depp, since he was vindicated in the defamation trial, or defecation if you will. Johnny's star has risen, it has continued to rise. He has collaborated with some renowned brands like Dior, and also collaborated with the likes of Rihanna. His career is getting back on track. But the one thing people really want is to see him as Captain Jack Sparrow again. Let's forget here 4 and 5 were not very good. Let's just forget that for a moment. And the fact that Disney, when those films were done, said there wouldn't be a 6, not because of Johnny, but because of the law of diminishing returns. But saying that, they're willing to keep throwing money at Star Wars when they really don't know how to make a decent Star Wars. Unless it's TV series, they seem to nail those quite nicely, except Boba Fett. Instead of employing a less is more strategy, they just throw so much at you that something will eventually stick and make them profit. The profit margin won't be great, but it's enough to sate those shareholders, right? Johnny Depp had said he wouldn't go back to do a Pirates of the Caribbean for over £300 million. That number was mentioned explicitly because no one's going to pay that. The reason he mentioned that number explicitly is because that's what he got for all 5 of the movies he'd made so far, allegedly. Disney, because they took on the listen and believe mentality of the Me Too movement, decided they were going to push ahead with a different movie anyway. But within Pirates of the Caribbean, they were going to do what many others have done before and do something that no one wants. Again, I will name 2 other franchises that didn't need any more movies for it. Ghostbusters, the all-female reboot, and Ocean's 8, I believe, the all-female cast. Dangerous territory to walk. Everyone knows Ocean's 11 was fine on its own, the other 2 did not need to exist. An all-female led one did not need to exist because they pushed the all-female aspect onto the viewer and no one cared. The same applied to Ghostbusters. There was an original 3rd movie planned for it, but it never happened. So the reboot with the all-female cast, again pushing this all-female thing, oh my god, look at all these women, was really stupid. Both movies flopped. No Johnny, No Pirates has trended for quite a while, and I'm not going to go through all the different instances of it. With one of them, it was because Margot Robbie was working on a female-led Pirates of the Caribbean movie. So understandably this trended because at that time, Johnny Depp had been vindicated. I know some like to latch onto this idea that, yes, but he was still proven a domestic abuser in an English court. No, he wasn't. They said high probability, and to win his defamation trial in America, he had to prove that he was the victim of the DV. Do try and pay attention. If you weren't, that's your fault and a you problem. I advise you do better. Margot Robbie is a fantastic actress. She's not a bad Harley Quinn, and I believe she's currently working on a Barbie movie, which seems appropriate for her, to be honest. I've seen a few interviews where she talks about her own life, storytime-wise, and she's very funny. Whether or not her ability and her range extends to a Pirates of the Caribbean movie when the fan base is so vehemently against you doing it, I'm not entirely sure. But we all know she really wanted to do this. And that's fair. Nothing wrong with that. The more recent reason for No Johnny, No Pirates to be trending though is because, sadly for Margot Robbie, well, things haven't quite panned out for her. Many say that Johnny Depp is Pirates of the Caribbean, and there's an argument to that. And the door at the end of the 5th movie, which is apparently called Salazar's Revenge in the UK, which makes no sense, Dead Men Tell No Tales is a much better title, was left wide open with Davy Jones in the end credits, which would have been a fantastic movie. Bill Nighy is a fantastic actor. They then could have reintroduced Keira Knightley and Orlando Big Dick Bloom, which for much of the fanbase could have worked well. We do after all like our nostalgia. One tweet that I did like concerning this movie not happening was from Blood Red Beats. Karma to these cheap, disloyal movie makers. When people trend hashtag no Johnny no pirates, and Real Nige sees that in his polls, you can bet your ass that it's what's happening. Underneath the two images, one of Margot Robbie's spin-off not happening, the other of Fantastic Beasts films being cancelled by Warner Brothers, both of which should have featured Johnny Depp. That's nothing against Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald, but since he just looked like Hannibal Lecter the entire time, as opposed to Johnny Depp's version which looked a smidge more creative, and then of course Pirates of the Caribbean, you can safely say Johnny Depp's name being associated with these is negatively impacted because of his removal from them. And I still remember when Johnny Depp was cast as Gellert Grindelwald and the second movie came out, The Crimes of Grindelwald, people didn't like it that much. They really didn't. But it turns out the court of public opinion swung. They swung when Amber Heard did her turdy best and failed, like grunge trying to kill the metal. While Margot Robbie gave an interview to Vanity Fair, there's a lot of bump in it. We're instead going to go to Variety instead. Margot Robbie announced in a new Vanity Fair cover story that her female-fronted Pirates of the Caribbean movie is dead at Disney. It was announced in 2020 that Oscar nominee Margot Robbie will be the new star of Pirates of the Caribbean movie at Disney, written by her Birds of Prey screenwriter Christina Hodson. There's grammar missing. We had an idea, and we were developing it for a while, ages ago, to have more of a female-led, not totally female-led, but just a different kind of story, which we thought would have been really cool. But I guess they don't want to do it. Variety reported in summer 2020 that Disney was in early development for this movie, as well as a second reboot written by franchise veteran Ted Elliott and Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin. Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced all 5 Pirates movies, was attached to both new projects at the time. In an interview with the Sunday Times in May, Jerry Bruckheimer said that both films remained in development. He also confirmed that the future of the Pirates franchise does not currently have Johnny Depp involved, despite rumours touting his return, being quoted as saying, "Yes, we're talking to Margot Robbie. We are developing 2 pirate scripts, one with her, one without." When asked about the pirate franchise, he said, "Will Depp be back? Not at this point. The future is yet to be decided." Now that one quote from Margot Robbie, simply saying, "I guess they don't want to do it," was enough to get No Johnny, No Pirates trending. This is proof of backlash from a wider audience who do not want to see a Pirates of the Caribbean movie without Johnny Depp. You know, the same person that at every Disney resort is still plastered all over the place. Merch with his face on is still there. I know their character, their intellectual property, but they still promoted him and his product. Even when the accusations were there, they were still making money off of all of that, even though it was associated to Johnny Depp, clearly showing signs they go where the money is. Although, again, we know nothing really of Margot Robbie's iteration, or what was supposed to be, or the alternate version that Bruckheimer alluded to without Margot Robbie in it, which in and of itself raises a number of concerns and questions. Personally, I think Johnny Depp should just carry on with his career. He doesn't need Pirates of the Caribbean. The fans want another one, yes, because they want it to be him. They want him to reclaim the spot that was wrongfully taken from him on an accusation that was unfounded. Defamation of the highest order, the kind that has cost someone over £10 million, and they have sought a life in Spain as a way of saying, but I'm not a resident there, so I can't afford it and don't have to pay it. Jurisdiction is quite funny. That person's career being in the gutter where it belongs anyway. Johnny is busy rebuilding his career. But this does also prove a point. If someone has been the face of a product for so long, can you really imagine anyone else taking on that mantle? When you then expand that respective universe to include different stories, can they run parallel? Or do they simply restart? The article mentioned a reboot. It's far too soon for a reboot of Pirates of the Caribbean, especially when people still want Johnny Depp, who still looks fantastic, to take up the mantle at least one more time. But if such a story is going to happen, perhaps, I don't know, make it a good one and don't rush it. Disney have a habit of rushing things and, well, they don't turn out very well. Cough cough 4 and 5 of Pirates of the Caribbean, cough cough Star Wars newest sequel trilogy, cough 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 and everything else.